a safe space for St. Louis to learn about soccer. This is Soccer 101 with Michelle Smallmon and Moon Valjean.
Welcome into Soccer 101. It's a safe space for St. Louis to talk about soccer. I'm Michelle Smallmon alongside Moon Valjean, our fan extraordinaire / enthusiast.
That's right.
And Moon, I don't know how enthused you are right now, considering that City is coming off a 2-1 loss versus Portland.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest of months. April was a little bit of dropping points, if you will. But you know what? There's still some hope to be taken. I think they need to re-strategize. Obviously, missing Klaus is a big issue. Is a big issue. But we'll see. I think they have a lot to talk about with the defensive issues and just some play work throughout the midfield. And you know what? Exactly what we thought was going to happen happened. Teams are adjusting to how this team is playing, and it's making a difference. Portland, this is the second time we've seen them. They've adjusted huge, and it made a big difference. But boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about when it comes to Berkey and the heroics that dude showed, because we should have lost like 8-1 these last two matches. And man, what a talent, what a captain, what a man, what a visual specimen he is. But I'm proud to have him on the show later. But yeah, I'm bummed about the match. Were you able to watch?
I was, and it just feels like the last two matches, things have been a little disjointed, and obviously not having Klaus there, you're going to have to make adjustments strategically. That's a threat that's missing on the field. But, you know, you said April was a rough month, and you were right. They need to turn the page into, what is it, May 2nd? We're now officially into May. April showers bring May flowers. So hopefully we will see some blooming on the field for City. But, you know, again, it's also comparisons because of the way that they started the season. When these inevitable ebbs come with the flows, I think that we get a little bummed out, but it's a long season. Stuff like this is going to happen.
It is a long season. It is a long season. You're right.
But the positive in the month of April has been Roman Bürki, the goalkeeper. Some unbelievable performances from him.
The dude is class, absolute world class. So happy to have him. It was the first 10 minutes of not the Portland match, but the match day before that. It was the first 10 minutes, and I turned to my wife and said, "Win, lose, or draw, this is your MVP." and then he showed up again on this last match at home. And you know, I had some people down there that were first time soccer experiencers, and it was a real bummer to not get 3 points in front of them. They were like, that was kind of weird. Like the energy of the crowd was great, but the team was kind of flat. So not the best introduction for them, but you know what? That's okay. Like you mentioned, long season ahead. It's going to be okay. We're still really in a really good spot at the table. And you know what? Other teams are adjusting to us, but we're also adjusting to them. So I think you're right. May is going to be good.
I believe they're still second in the Western Conference, right?
Yeah, I believe so. We're out of the Supporters Shield right now, but listen, man, we still got a chance. There's plenty to go, and I have faith in Berkey and the team and Coach Carnell.
So why don't we talk to the man of the hour?
Oh man, this is such an honor. This is such a huge deal. I know we've been teasing this. I didn't even want to talk about it just in case it didn't happen. But it's happening. Let's talk to Roman Bürki, the captain of your St. Louis City SC.
Well, we are delighted. We teased this at the end of last podcast that we might have a big and exciting guest coming up this week, and we do. We are delighted to welcome in St. Louis City SC goalkeeper Roman Bürki to the show. Roman, thank you for taking the time to do this. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really good. Just finished training. Was an intense one, but I'm feeling good. Excited for a new week.
Okay, so take us through training today. What was so intense about it? What is the team focusing on right now?
Yeah, obviously we talked a lot about last games, the loss again against Portland, and the energy was not quite well. We asked a little bit more from the whole team to bring the fire back in the training, and that it starts in training, to take everything serious in training, every exercise we do. And we could see that today was amazing. Everyone was fighting for the ball and to win every game. Wanted to win every game, and that's a good sign that the team is able to turn around these things in training so fast.
Hey, I just want to say congratulations on, I mean, just a spectacular start to the season, obviously historical. You've made all of our dreams come true. Diehard St. Louis soccer fans, we've been waiting for these moments forever and ever, and you guys just came out so impressively. So congratulations to you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart as a fan for giving me such an exciting last few months. Obviously, April didn't go the way we wanted to, but I'm so honored to talk to you, especially goalkeeper, captain, just absolutely incredible athlete. Can you tell me a little bit about being the captain of this squad and what that means to you?
Yeah, first of all, likewise, we are like very excited and very happy about you guys supporting us each and every week in the game, and that means a lot. And to see the city celebrating us, or have another exciting sports event to go to, and yeah, that made all of us very happy. And yeah, to your question, the team is very easy to handle, to be honest. We have a lot of good guys. They know exactly what they want. Of course, if we win, it's way easier to go through the whole week and to prepare for a game. But we have really good characteristics in our team. I think very important is for me as a captain that I have Tim Parker by my side, who knows the whole MLS, what is going on, and also is a guy who speaks up. And yeah, that's one thing that is really important for me. And of course, with Bradley, the coach, we have the same vision, so we know exactly what we're talking about, what we ask for the players. And I'm just here to be a little bit more like the connection between coach and team. And yeah, I just try to communicate a lot with the younger guys, to help them if they have questions and so on.
So, Roman, what kind of a leader are you? Are you the guy that is going to yell to get your message across if need be? Are you the guy that's going to joke around with the guys when you realize that the mood is needed to be lightened up? How are you a leader?
Oh, he yells. I've watched it. I've seen him yell. He's a yeller. I love it.
I have two. I'm basically two person in one. So next to the field, like now, I like to joke around. I have a lot of we have a lot of contacts like off the field with the guys. I like to play Call of Duty with them and go out for dinner or whatever. I'm a very open and relaxed person next to the field, but the guys know as soon as I go on the field, it doesn't matter if it's training or a game. I just want to win. I don't care about something else. If I see someone not giving 100% in training, not trying to give everything for a win, he will hear from me. So yeah, I'm kind of that way. In the games, of course, sometimes it looks maybe a little bit more like I'm just screaming around, but you guys in the stands, you're so loud, so I have to communicate on a way like that they hear it. So, but no, I always try to push the guys. Sometimes I have to get louder, of course, but that's what the coach also asks from me, because I'm the closest player to the whole team. And yeah.
Yeah, this is a baseball town. Welcome to the baseball town. And a lot of times, goalkeepers, for us soccer fans, we're trying to compare the goalkeeper role and the captain role to the catcher on a baseball field, where you really are. It might look like you're yelling and you're angry, but you're really kind of directing traffic in different ways. Not just because you're a goalkeeper, and not just because you're a captain, but really, especially in these last two matches, you've been an absolute hero. And from a fan perspective, in a few minutes when the team is kind of losing the ball here and there, and you're taking shot after shot, it's inspiring to see you playing the way that you are. You can tell that you're really connected to the team. Do you prefer a busy game where you're taking a lot of shots, you're making a lot of saves, or do you prefer the offense to be controlling it and you're kind of having a day off back there?
To be honest, it doesn't really matter. As long as we win at the end of the game, I really don't care. Of course, sometimes it's good for your own ego or confidence to have a game like Colorado where I face like 12 or 13 shots and you can save most of them. That's good for your confidence. But then there are games like we had in the first, I don't know, in the first 2 or 3 games where I had probably maybe 2 saves, but 4 goals conceded in 2 games. That's also that's not good. But at the end we won, you know. So I'd rather win the games than have me as a man of the match.
Well, Roman, Moon mentioned catchers, and I've worked in sports for a long time, and there's just certain positions where people are built differently. Mentally, they have to be at a different level. Starting pitchers are like that in baseball. Goalies are certainly like that in hockey and in soccer. And some of my favorite conversations with athletes are about what they have to do mentally to get ready for a game. And I know being a keeper is a completely different position. So what's your mental process like before a game?
I just stopped thinking, to be honest. I know there is a lot of things that can happen. I play just out of my feelings, you know. I don't listen too much, or I don't think too much about all the tactical stuff and whatnot. I just look what is an option, and every game brings you other options when it comes to play with the ball, when it comes to to make saves or whatever. I mean, I just look at it as a goalkeeper. It's like a training, you know. You do these things all in training every day, and you try your best, and most of the time it's successful. So it's just, for me, I look at sometimes as a training with a lot of people around, and that what brings me down, that I'm not getting nervous or I'm not feeling too much pressure, because I'm a guy, when I'm at home and think about the game, I put myself under pressure a lot. You know, I expect a lot from me every time. But that's one way to bring it a little bit down, you know, just don't think too much.
Yeah, you said that you're you know, an intense competitor on the field, but you're kind of a goofier dude talking to everybody on the sidelines or away from the matches. And what Michelle alluded to is sometimes the goalies are the kind of weird. They're like the drummers, and I'm in a lot of different bands. That's what I've made my living doing. And drummers are very interesting, and sometimes they're really the goofballs, and sometimes they're kind of in their own circle and they only kind of hang out with other drummers. Do you find that's true in sports? Are goalkeepers kind of in their own gang, or and are you kind of like that, where you're hanging out with more goalkeepers because you guys are just built a little bit different? I mean, people are firing balls at 80 miles an hour at your faces. So it's a different thing.
I don't know if you can see, but today I got hit in the face full speed. So
oh,
sorry
yikes.
if
who kicked the ball?
AZ. Oh. But no, it's true. I mean, we spent most of or half of the training only preparing the goalkeepers. So together, the goalie group, and there is a special connection, of course. And I'm also like the way how Ben Ben Lund the whole situation handles, and how he supports me, and the way, the connection we have, the relationship we have on the field and in training is amazing. To be a number one, you know, as you can focus on your game, what you want to do in training, and he's just there to support you, to support me. That means a lot to me, and I would say that's a special connection we have. Of course, we have the meetings, the video analysis we do together, only the goalkeepers, and we have a special bond. But next to the field, I mean, it doesn't matter if a guy is playing center back, right back, goalie. We all have a really good connection with everyone in the team. So everyone is invited. If we go somewhere, there's nobody who feels like, oh no, they don't want me here.
So, Roman, to prepare for this interview, I read a lot of stuff about you. I listened to a lot of podcasts that you've done in the past, interviews that you've done. And one of the main themes that I kept hearing from you is that the most important thing for you is to have fun. And, you know, you're such a competitor. You say when you get out on the field, you become this different person, the second version of you. How does that version still have fun?
I mean, if I win, I have fun. So I try to have fun as much as possible. So no, I just, you know, there is it's a good mix, I would say. I mean, I still have fun. Or at the end of the day, if I go home and I lost in training, I'm so angry, but I like that, you know. It's like a good feeling. So it still means that I'm competitive. I'm 32, you know. I'm an old guy here in the dressing room, but I still have that strive in me to win every game and every training game, and that makes me happy, you know. And that's a good sign. So I would say usually I also talk to the guys before the game and tell them enjoy the whole crowd, you know, the situation in the stadium, the fans, they push us. And because some guys, like I was when I was younger, you think about too much about, oh no, maybe I make this mistake, maybe I could make this mistake. Just don't think and just play, you know. Think about it, have a good time. Where you think about before the game where you were 5 years ago, you know, and now you can play in a stadium like this with fans like this, and we are successful right now.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go off script a little bit and kind of expand on that, because my daughter, I have a daughter that's playing in select soccer, and she's fantastic. She's a real competitor. She's just very, very intense, extremely skilled. And this is a soccer town. So I'm hoping that you speak to a lot of young players, not just city players, obviously, that you're helping with day in and day out. Speak to the people that are like my daughter and everybody else. My daughter came home after just a horrible outing. She made a lot of mistakes, and she was devastated. And I had to have a conversation with her, coming from not a professional soccer, but from a musician who's playing show after show after show after show. And not all of my shows are great. And after the show, I had to develop a routine where I would allow myself to really think about my mistakes for 1 hour. And then I flushed it, and that was it. And I created a new day, and I thought about the next show, and I did not allow myself to think about the last one. So can you give us any advice as a veteran professional player that's played in multiple leagues at absolute top level? How do you get over the mistakes? I'd like to just talk about all the great stuff that you do, but like, you're going to make mistakes. You've made mistakes. How do you get over that emotionally and psychologically to keep yourself at the top level?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing, you know, about playing in front of people every weekend, because you think, or in my situation back then in Dortmund, for example, the whole city was just Borussia Dortmund, nothing else. There was nothing else, and you think, I had the feeling when I had a bad game or I made a mistake in a game, the next day I had to go out to buy groceries. I was looking at the people, and I thought they only see this mistake I made. They don't see me as a person. They only think, oh, that's the guy who made the mistake yesterday. And that's the worst thing that can carry on through a whole season if you go on like this. And so I worked with a mental coach, and I talked to somebody, because I had no fun anymore to play. And I had the opportunity to play in front of 80,000 every second week at home, and it was the best thing that I did, to talk to someone who really helped me to go on with this. And he said just one simple thing. I went in there, I talked to him and talked about my problem, and he said, "But you know what? It's just a game." And I said, "Yeah, I mean, it's right, you know." And once you have to accept that it's just a game. Of course, there's pressure, but these are people, they cannot do that better, you know. You are in this situation because you deserve it, and you have the right to make mistakes. You are in this position, and because you trained a lot, you gave everything, and now it's just you have to enjoy it as long as you can. And that's the one thing I really changed in my mind, that I just go after a bad game. For example, in Seattle, I conceded two goals I knew I can save on a good day, and that was just, I mean, it's not easy to go through this alone. I had a good time with my teammates, you know. On the flight back home, we played a game. We had something to drink on the plane, and we talked, we laughed, even after a loss and not a bad game. That's also important, that you surround yourself with good people. But at the end, like I said, that's just these words. It's just a game that changed my whole vision of this or view on these things. Like when it comes to making mistakes in front of people, I mean, yeah, it's just not that serious in the whole world, you know. It's just you make a mistake. Okay, so every day some people make mistake on work or whatever. If they want to try something, it's a completely normal thing. And why shouldn't you be allowed to make these mistakes?
I love it.
That's amazing advice. And we're all human beings. We're all going to make mistakes. So I'm glad that you shared that with us, Roman, because that's going to help a lot of people. They're going to say, well, if Roman can forgive himself, so can I. But you mentioned Dortmund, and I know when your time there was coming to a close, you had all sorts of options of where you were going to go, and you obviously chose St. Louis, you chose City. And one of the things I was listening to you in this podcast, you recounted how when you first came here and you visited with Lutz and you were talking to him about this opportunity, you went to City Park, and it was just basically the foundation. There was no grass, there was nothing. And you stood there and you imagined what it could be like if you were to play there and how important you could be to this community and to this team. So now you're living in the reality of it. How does the reality stack up to what you envisioned that day?
Oh, it's way better, to be honest. The whole situation with the stadium, the fans, you know, you can just imagine the stadium, but not, you can never imagine the whole, like the feeling to play in the stadium without with 20,000 and more fans. So it's just way better than I imagined. So I think it's something special here, with the whole like light show and the fans around. You know, my uncle was here for the first time last game against Portland, and he was like, "Oh my God, these people, they don't sit, they stand the whole game and they cheer." I say, yeah, that's what the real support looks like, you know, joking around a little bit. And no, everyone who comes here is surprised that it's such a good vibe in the stadium, and the support is awesome.
That's awesome. That's my last question. Is we had Nico on the show a couple weeks ago, just after match day 2 or 3, I believe. And one of the things that I asked him was, hey, what was the biggest surprise when you came to MLS, or the biggest surprise when you came to City? And he mentioned the training facilities. He said he was shocked and blown away by the training facilities. What was your biggest surprise coming to the MLS or coming to St. Louis City?
Yeah, the facility is amazing. It's one of the best I've ever been in. Because in Dortmund we had a whole training. It was somewhere else, you know, not right next to the stadium. It was a little bit outside. It was cool, but it was not that modern, you know. And now we have all that stuff here. It's amazing. But I mean, also that we are training right next to the stadium is something special, you know. You feel it, and when you're on the training field, you look left, you see the stadium. It's like it gives you another feeling, you know. You're close to your home, and that's something special. But yeah, he's right. The facility is amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Roman, this has been so wonderful. Thank you for giving us so much time. We love chatting with you. We could do this all day, but we want to be respectful of your time.
Yes, thank you. Such an honor to have you on here.
You're welcome.
Thanks for such a great start to the season, and go get them this weekend versus Dallas.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moon, he was the man of April when it comes to City. He's the man of our podcast. Nico's got some competition. How great was that conversation with Roman Bürki?
Chef's kiss for gentlemen, for captains on the field. And you know what? My favorite part was, you know, I mean, I had a couple questions written down. I wanted to know who he thought was the talisman of the squad if it weren't him, and just a couple other soccer and on the field questions. And then when you kind of got him rolling a little bit about how to prepare for matches and just the psychological nature of goalies in general, being a captain, and how he mentioned he was, you know, 32 years old, which is a veteran on a squad like this. You know, what would he say to all these young soccer players, including my children? My daughter came home crushed the other day. I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this. She came home crushed because she just had a really bad outing. And this is one of the most skilled players at her level I've ever seen. And I can only give her so much fatherly advice. I can only give her so much from my view and my experience as a performer for her to take. I'm sure she wants to hear it from the freaking captain of her favorite team, which she got to. And he really got into some of the nitty gritty of the psychological aspect of, letting your team down or making a mistake here and there, and how he has to go about it at the grocery store even. So I was so thankful. I am so thankful to him for getting into that and talking about it and opening up, because this is going to be the favorite episode for my daughter, because it's truly relevant for her as a player and as a person. So I'm so very thankful, not only for the soccer talk, but the real psychological talk that Roman was able to give us today.
Well, I love that your daughter gets that gift, but I also got a gift too out of it, because it's not just relevant to kids or to athletes. I think all of us are really hard on ourselves, especially in a social media era. And all of us can take a little nugget of advice from what Roman Berkey just said. We're all going to make mistakes. Everybody needs to be a little bit more gentle with themselves and realize that the next day is a new day to start over. It's never too late to turn the page. So I loved that. And, it's so great to have conversations like this, especially with athletes, because over the past few years, a lot of times I talk to guys behind the scenes about stuff like this. There's sports psychologists, mental coaches, as Roman mentioned. These guys are prominent in every locker room and every clubhouse. They're available to all of these players, and most of them are utilizing them. And it's been so beneficial for them, for the modern athlete, to have somebody to talk to and to get the tools to deal with the pressure that comes with being a player.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that, because I think that's something that is talked about in the way that we're talking about it, and players are coming out and talking about the benefits of their mental health coaches or just the access to that. But it doesn't get interweaved with the exact same talk about how players are bigger and faster and the game is harder and the game is better. And you talk to retired players and they're like, oh, I couldn't compete in this day and age. Well, that's not only because of the training facilities. It's not only because of specialized medicine. It's not only because of the specialized coaching. It's also because of the mental work that they've been doing. And we don't talk about those in the same conversations sometimes. So I'm really glad that he brought that up and that you brought that up, because just as much as these physical training facilities have improved, and he's now the second one to talk about how surprised he was with how incredible the training facilities are here in St. Louis and the MLS, but it's also because the mental health and the aspect that they're really focusing on, the mental aspect being focused on as much as the physical aspect, is making this game better, is making these players better, and is making it better for us as fans too, because these guys are playing better for longer, and it's great.
It is. It's preserving a lot of careers in a lot of ways. Okay, well, we are going to wrap it up here, because we went a little bit long with Roman Berkey, but it was totally worth it. It was worth the wait, worth the length. I loved our conversation. Hopefully you did too. Again, Moon and I will be back next week to talk about the Dallas game. City is on the road. They're at Toyota Stadium. They're playing Dallas. It's 8:30 p.m. This is not a free one for Apple. So get that MLS season pass if you haven't already.
Yeah, and wherever you are watching Soccer 101 or listening to Soccer 101 here, if you could like and subscribe. This is our first video, but this is our 21st episode on podcasts. So if you haven't checked out the podcast, make sure you go back and binge it all. You're going to hear about all the things that we were right about and all the things we were wrong about. And that's okay. We've forgiven ourselves.
Just like Roman Berkey says, just forgive yourself. Exactly
right. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube or any of the video platforms, make sure you subscribe, and we very much appreciate you joining Soccer 101 with Michelle and Moon.
Thank you for listening. Thank you to Moon. We will be back again next week. But until then,
go!